Back in the early 1960s, the NHRA was becoming increasingly popular. And due to that popularity, manufacturers were building cars under a factory experimental program for the drag strip. And today we're going to talk about one of them, one of my favorite Ford cars of all time, the Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt from 1964. So with winning in mind, Ford took one of their medium-sized cars, the Fairlane, and they stuffed the biggest engine that they had available at the time in it, the 427 FE Big Block. The result became known as the Thunderbolt, a factory-built dragster that became not only legendary on the track, but on the streets as well. The Thunderbolt was a very limited production car. They only made 100 units total of these in 1964. 51 of these were automatics and 49 of them were 4-speed manuals. They also only came in 2 colors. You could get a burgundy Ford color, which 11 of them were made in, and then you could get this Wimbledon white, which the other 89 were made in as well. Now remember, they shoved a 427 cubic inch big block in this thing in an effort to go win races. That came at a price for Ford. They actually could not build this on the factory production line because the car was so different. In an effort to house that 427 cubic inch big block, they had to move production and team up with a company called Dearborn Steel Tubing, who made the 100 units. A couple little fun notes about this car feature-wise. That teardrop hood that you see there was a must-have. They had to make that hood scoop that big to house the 427 motor and the high-rise intake that it had as well. Another thing, those air ducts that you see above on a Fairlane, those would be the bright lights, but on the Thunderbolt, those were actually a part of the ram air intake system, which I thought was pretty cool. This car was also drastically underrated from the factory. Ford said it was making about 425 horse. No, it's much more than that. Based on what I read, it's somewhere between 500 and 540 horsepower, which would propel this with the 4-speed manual down the quarter mile in about 11.6 seconds. And in 1964, at 11.6 quarter mile is insane. The good news is all of that work in engineering for Ford led to the 1964 Superstock Championship. A lot of wins and a lot of notoriety came with this car, which is why they are so legendary among the drag racing world. And like I said, this is one of my favorite Ford cars of all time, and this is why. It's from an era in automotive history that I don't think will be repeated, where win on Sunday, sell on Monday was a real thing, and manufacturers were literally building cars and marketing cars through forms of racing like NASCAR, the NHRA, and etc. in an effort to sell more cars on Monday. And they would come out with wild things like these factory experimental programs, or for NASCAR like the Torino Talladegas, the Superbirds, the Charger Daytonas. And it's just a very rare time and one of my favorite eras in automotive history. And that is why the Ford Thunderbolt is such a special car.